How to save your personal life and not end up with nothing. When you've lost your beloved girlfriend, when you can't meet anyone, when you have constant trouble in relationships, when you just want to say, we will call things by their names. To hell with these relationships. I've always been not so much surprised by them, but I understand them. People, let's include both women and men, although this channel is for men. I understand them. People who say, to hell with these relationships. I recently got out, I don't want a relationship for now. Do you know why they say that? Because for them, relationships were hell. Of course, he doesn't want to go back into a relationship. Of course, why would he want to return to that hell? And what's most interesting is that every relationship will be like that for him. Why? Until you figure out the topic of relationships, any relationship will be hell for you. But you lose the greatest opportunity for the coolest motivation. If we take, for example, men. Why? Because a woman, a girl, is the most powerful and the only motivator for a man. To achieve success in this life, to do something. Imagine a world without women. Just imagine there are no women. What would we men do? Would we earn money for Ferraris, Porsches, Rolls Royces, Bentleys, penthouses, houses? No, we would live in dormitories. That's it. We would live in one-room apartments. There's a place to sleep, to take a dump, to eat and to engage in. But what sex? There are no women. Then just jerk off to porn. That's it. Progress would stop. Motivation would stop. So you're depriving yourself of the coolest opportunity. And what I've noticed is unique. The cooler the girl, the more motivation there is. For example, take an ordinary Zina from your neighboring building entrance. What motivation is there to earn money, achieve success, buy a Bentley, a Rolls Royce, build some villa for yourself in Miami? None at all. And now let's take motivation, for example, Valia Carnival, Vera Brezhneva, Yana Koshkina, Rosie, what's her name? The one who's with Statham, his wife. Would you want her in a relationship right now? Does the motivation for a Rolls Royce Bentley appear? Of course. That's how easy it is to check. So, what if a girl doesn't want sex? If it's on dates, then you need to figure out why you're behaving in a way that makes her not want you. How are you communicating with her? How are you possibly dressed incorrectly? There could be a million questions. If in a relationship, maybe, in a relationship. There are two, you also need to figure it out. Have you had sex at all? How often was sex before? Here too, there are a million questions, or rather, nuances. For example, you were doing it like rabbits for the first 2 or 3 months. And then the sexual interest somehow drops. Why? Because of monotony. Got bored? How much more can you take? The same happens with a man losing interest if he does it 4 times a day for 2 months. Anyone would lose sexual interest. Second, maybe she's working like a driven horse. Is she working for you or not? If she is, well, it's no surprise why she stopped wanting you so much. Instead of feminine energies, she takes on masculine energies. Now she needs to be the man. She thinks, how can I date a man when I've become a man myself? Because I need to work since my man isn't supporting us. How can a man want another man? So you need to figure it out, buddy. What can you talk about with a girl when approaching her? Oh, ask any girl. On my channel, who's been around for a while, here it is, their favorite phrase. What are you into? So, the very first question, the simplest one, instead of, what do you do? That dumb question, how are you? What do you do? How's your mood? Girls don't want to answer these at all, and the conversation immediately drops. That's why I came up with a unique phrase. What are you into? Why? Because everyone enjoys talking about their hobbies. Do you have a favorite hobby? Of course. If I start asking you about it, will you enjoy talking about it? Of course. But if I ask you about work, or how your mood is, you'll think these are dumb questions. So, ask what they're into. Let's move on to the topics. Favorite hobby. Another nuance I've noticed where girls enjoy talking is about travel. They always enjoy talking about it. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
How are you?
You're tired? Oh my God, my baby.
How are you?
Come to me. It's Kim. Yes? Hi.
What
is she doing exactly right now?
Are you going to speak a little with my followers?
horse?
No? You going to relax?
I'm so tired.
Why? Go to relax.
Yeah.
Okay? You go to wash.
I kiss you, baby.
I kiss you too. My. Okay. So let's move on. Here are two topics. You can talk about when meeting someone, hobbies, and travel. 3 years together already. Wow, 3 years. First, if she is working, make it so that she doesn't work and only you work, so she can embrace her feminine energy. Second, introduce some variety. Third, maybe she stopped desiring you because you have conflict. After conflict, and she doesn't plan to break up with you at all. The fact that your sex life has become less frequent and she is controlling it, since you're asking about it, is already the first warning signs that everything is heading towards the end in your relationship, and she might already be looking for backup options. If a girl has stopped desiring her man, well, you don't need to be a fool to understand that things are going very badly. Therefore, you need to look into what's happening in more detail. Maybe she's lacking romance. Maybe she's working like a driven horse. Maybe she thought she would relax with you, be feminine, but instead she's working like a horse with you. So you need to figure it out. She's Chinese, she doesn't work. Oh, that's already good. She just thinks that having sex 2 or 3 times a week is enough. But I want it more often, and that's why we have conflicts. But we love each other. Oh, buddy, good news. That's right, she thinks 2 or 3 times a week is enough. Why? See how your sexual interest in her is maintained? Very correct. Smart, well done. I give her a 5-star rating because my philosophy is exactly the same. It's cool that you want more, but that's the thrill of it. And if you want to ruin your relationship, have sex 2 or 3 times a day for 2 months. By the 3rd month, you will break up. Why? You will no longer desire each other physically, and the thought will start creeping in. If I don't want her physically, it means I've fallen out of love. Why should I be with her then? Congratulations. In 3 months, you've broken up. That's why I came up with a unique formula. And I haven't heard this formula from any psychologist, relationship coach, or anyone else. What burns very brightly will burn out very quickly. So if you want to maintain this brightness for a long time, you need to keep this flame at a minimum. When you have sex 2 to 3 times a week, not 2 to 3 nights, but 2 to 3 times, you have a constant desire. You constantly want each other. That's why she's doing everything right. You shouldn't argue with her about this topic. Don't show, I really want you. On the contrary, say, yes, everything is right. And this way, her sexual interest in you will be maintained. Why? Because she understands that she's a smart, wise girl you have. You're lucky to have her. But you constantly pressure her, want her, pester her, and her sexual interest in you decreases. Why? Because the one who takes an active role forces someone to take a passive role. It's like the effect of a spring. You press it. What does the spring want to do? To recoil. So your task is, when she recoils, your task is also to recoil, not to press on this topic. And when the desire arises, it happens naturally, but no more than 2 or 3 times a week. It's preferable to change locations, not just in bed. Maybe she's tired of doing it with you in bed and in one position. So, are you ready to take a risk? It's up to you. Don't want to take a risk? Want to return everything to how it was before? Okay, no problem. I'll help. We'll analyze your problem and sort it out, so to speak. Yes, your problem is just the first warning sign, so to speak. I've sorted out such problems when they had already split up and blocked each other. Yes, here's a case. A husband and wife, 10 years together, 2 kids, $1 millionaire, and that's it. The wife never even worked. House, cars, motorcycles, travel. They have everything. $1 millionaire. but everything's in the dumps. As it turned out, he wasn't taking her on interesting romantic dates anymore, wasn't courting her as a woman. I explained to him, I laid out a plan for him on how to take her on 5 dates. By the 3rd date, she was shouting, "I want you. I love you. Why weren't you like this before?" By the 3rd date. That's how it is. Where should you look for a good girl? They are everywhere. The problem isn't finding a good girl. The problem is, what will you do with her when you approach her? How will you communicate with her? How will you interest her? Why should a good girl be interested in you? Here's your homework, buddy. Write down what kind of girl you like. Age, appearance. I'm serious right now. Yes, so if you're asking a question, take and write it down if you want to solve your problem. If you don't write it down, don't mess with my head and don't waste my time. So take a piece of paper and a pen now and write it down, or take notes on your phone. First, age, appearance. How old, how much she earns approximately, what she does, and her level of appearance, coolness, beauty, whatever you want to call it. Describe in detail the kind of girl you specifically want for yourself. I mentioned 4 or 5 points. First, write this down, and then write 5 reasons why she would be with you. 5 reasons why she will be with you. And the fact that you have an 18-centimeter dick and that you're a sexual giant doesn't count. All men are sexual giants, if you ask anyone. We are unlikely to encounter that. Then how are you in bed? Well, to be honest, not that great. I've never heard anything like that. It's always like, yeah, I'm a damn lion in bed. That's how everyone responds. So, you can't impress a girl with sex? Then why do couples break up? Because the sex was bad? No, of course not. But because something else no longer satisfied them about each other. And as practice shows, for these 5 reasons. Why she would be with me, write on the 2nd or 3rd question. Men sit and think for half an hour. Damn. Why would she really be with me? This cool girl that I want. And here is the real answer for you. You are not worthy of them yourself. Why? Because first of all, your self-esteem is shattered. If I ask such a question to Jason Statham, Timothy, or Brad Pitt to write 5 reasons why a girl would be with you, he would write 5 reasons in a minute at most. But for 95% of men, it takes at least 10 minutes. That's why my training sessions are needed. To first reprogram your incorrect beliefs, to reprogram your self-confidence. That's exactly what I do in my training sessions. I reprogram all of this. And until you reprogram it, your life will be like Groundhog Day. Every day, the same thing. And you won't achieve the result you want, which in your case is the girl you desire. You're already 20, 30, 40 years old. I don't know how you haven't gotten her, achieved her, or had her appear in your life in 20, 30, 40 years. Because there are programs in place here, and until you reprogram them, you'll live your whole life. Live your whole life with a girl who isn't the one you dreamed of. Question: what will happen to your life? What will happen to your self-esteem? And how will you die? In joy or in sadness and sorrow? Imagine living your life with a girl who isn't the one you dreamed of. That's where your self-esteem is. That's why the very first thing in my profile header says, I remove mental pain, fears, and insecurity. I restore faith in oneself, because you 99% of men lack the belief in yourself that you are worthy. When men come to my training, even for dating, I start pushing them towards, girls who are much cooler than those they approached before. They say, no way, it can't be. No, it's breaking me. It's scary. It's embarrassing. A month later, he says, I'm shocked. These girls are absolutely no problem for me to talk to whatsoever at all. Even though the men are 30, 40, even 45 years old. You can't reprogram these things within yourself. You've already set them there, and only an experienced surgeon like me can reprogram them for you. That's the only option. Well, or you can keep going and continue to suffer. Let's move on. How to properly invite someone on a date. Right? First, create an attractive profile to start with so that she becomes interested in going on a date. Because no matter what you write to her, she won't come. If your profile is terrible, she won't come. But as my experience has shown, the more interesting the profile, the more attractive it is, and the more correct photos and videos it contains, the higher the chances that a girl will agree to a date regardless of what you write. Well, obviously, not just any nonsense. Therefore, the first step is to work on your profile to increase the effectiveness of her interest. And then you can simply write, "Hi, maybe we can go for coffee one of these days," for example. Yes, you can write like that. Of course, the conversation is a bit more complex, but I'm not going to explain it all here. Yes, I have a book called Dating Sites. Where is it? Here it is, this book, Dating Sites. Here it describes how to create an attractive profile. That is what kind of photos and videos you should have so that beautiful, cool girls are interested in you. When you write to them, they would respond to you and possibly even write to you first. For example, yes, when I lived with Aray Shobanyan, he had about 200 or 300,000 followers at that time. The right photos, popularity. Girls would write to him themselves, they would come to his house on their own, and they were awesome and cool, which is the most interesting part. Why? An attractive profile. So until you create an attractive profile, you are losing a huge amount of effectiveness. You are missing out on awesome, cool girls. Create an attractive profile. Then just write, "Hi, can we go for a coffee sometime?" Well, that's the light version. Here, entire structures of correspondence are written on how to attract awesome, cool girls. I told you how to write hi to an ordinary girl when you have an attractive profile. Hi, can we go for a coffee sometime in the next few days? If you want to seduce a beauty so that she is 100% sure to come on a date, here are cool, awesome conversations on how to attract girls from Instagram. What to write to them on Instagram so that she comes on a date. Conversations on how to meet girls on dating sites for relationships like Tinder, Badoo, Twinbee, and on sites for sex like Badanga, Pure, well, and some others, a huge number. And even on such sites like Right Away, how to chat with a girl so that she immediately comes to your place. Yes, that is specific examples, well practiced. What should I write to get her to come? That's it. Read the book, made yourself an attractive profile, or watched a video lesson, understood how to chat. You don't even need to think. Just copy my text, paste it. She came to your place for a date. You have a great time. You spent the night or had a romantic evening or had sex, depending on what your goals are with each other. That's it. In a week, you're in a great, cool relationship. All you need to do is this. Read. Do it, and you have a great, cool relationship with a cool girl. But 99%. But you have to learn this, but you have to make an interesting profile, but you have to do Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V to paste. Nah, I'd rather go and masturbate. That's why this broadcast and all my broadcasts and all my videos are only for the 1% who will actually do it. I'd rather work with one person who will become a hero, who will become a president, who will achieve incredible heights, than with a million idiots who won't do anything at all. They just sit there, ears wide open, and still won't do anything. Couch, so to speak, couch critics, I don't know. Tram tam tam. How much does a consultation cost? 35,000 rubles per hour. How to get an ex back? I don't even know how to explain it to you in a few words. It's like asking how to make a girl fall in love. There's a whole scheme. First, distance yourself. Second, focus on yourself. Third, maintain an attractive profile. Fourth, lower her value. Fifth, increase her value. Increase your value in her eyes. Sixth, focus on yourself. Eighth, Analyze the mistakes that were made in the relationship, as both of you are at fault. 7th, understand how to win back her love. 9th, what exactly to do on dates now, when you meet, to make her fall in love with you again. And 10th, what to do in the relationship now, when she comes back to you. Here are 10 damn stages. In my book on relationships, which I don't have here right now, there's an entire chapter, about 100 pages long, on what exactly needs to be done to get your ex back. You take it, read it, or watch the video lesson. I think I even have a separate video lesson on it. You watch the video lesson, follow exactly what I say, and your ex won't just come back. In 90% of cases, when students use my return scheme, the girl herself writes, "Hi, let's meet up." You don't need to humiliate yourself. Here are the mistakes men make. I'll text her, "Sorry, let's meet up. I understand everything." And don't think that she will come back. Let's try again. None of this works. Why are you trying to convince a girl with logic? To force her? It simply doesn't work. A girl just doesn't leave for you to change, for you to change, for you to change. And in order for you to understand the mistakes that were made, that's why she leaves. So that you come back as a completely different person. And when she sees the new you, new actions, only then does she return. Believe me, I once tried in my life to get a girl back this way just to go on a date in a month. I wrote to her, "Hi, let's meet up." She comes and I say, "I've changed. I've become different." She nodded her head and said, "Oh, okay, cool." And the next day she sent me a text message. "I didn't really see any of your changes on our date, so goodbye, take care. This time, for real." So this is no joke at all. You need to approach this seriously, and there's a whole structure to it. It's a very complex issue. I've just told you in a few words how this structure works, and how you can definitely get it back. As for what you might come up with, I'll probably write a text message. I might meet her somewhere near the entrance, and we'll talk. Go ahead, give it a try. You'll definitely screw it up if you haven't already. You come to me when you've already made such a mess of things. It even gets to the point where sometimes girls just block you. That's the kind of nonsense. To what kind of crap you'll end up with. And only after you've done all this crap, when you've already been blocked, that's when you sit down and think, "Damn, maybe I shouldn't start figuring this out." A girl doesn't just leave for no reason. She gives a man a million chances. She really wants a relationship and wanted it with you. But you managed to mess it up, despite the fact that she really wants a relationship. Just ask any girl, does she want a relationship? They will all answer, yes. Well, okay, 99%. Ask men, do you want a relationship? 99 will say no. 99%. Do you understand how much she wanted a relationship? That's how much you had to mess everything up. Make so many mistakes for her to send you packing, despite how much she really wanted it. That's the situation you're in right now. Why? Because you didn't understand the topic of relationships, just like I didn't at one time. I had to lose so many girls to realize that. It turns out the problem was also with me. 50% of the blame was mine too. And when I started to understand the mistakes I was making, attending trainings, listening to video lessons, reading books, I just held my head and thought, oh my, it's really like that. I really was doing that. And the most interesting thing is, until you sort all this out, you won't have any relationships. And thank God. Imagine, life will not give you this under any circumstances. Why? Because it doesn't want children to suffer because of this later. You didn't figure out the topic of relationships and got into one. You had a child. Naturally, after some time, you break up. As a result, the child suffers from an incomplete family. The father left the family. Can you imagine how the daughter will suffer? Can you imagine how the son will suffer? Because you treat relationships like a school exam. Oh, it'll pass. What's the big deal? I'll somehow pass with a C. That doesn't happen in relationships. Either you pass them with flying colors, or goodbye. See you at the retake. And your retake will be new relationships. And when they will happen, who knows? After how long? Yes, I remember I once had a period where I couldn't meet a girl for a relationship for 3 years. 3 years. Even though I'm a professional in the field of dating, that's how life sometimes teaches us lessons. Why did it give me one girl, a second, a third, a fifth, a 10th? I messed up with all of them. And it thinks, hey you, have you lost your mind by any chance? How many girls' lives have you ruined? They wasted their time on you. And here you are, acting smart, and saying you need to understand the topic of relationships. Now sit without a relationship, my dear, and think about your behavior. That's what will happen to you, if it hasn't already. Sometimes these lessons are so painful that people end up committing suicide. Like recently, Yanis Sedokova broke up with him. He just ended his life by suicide. A friend of mine, I remember when I lived in Lviv, business, daughter, broke up with a girl. 2 weeks later, they found him hanged in the forest. That's how harsh the lessons can be sometimes if you're not prepared. Relationships are not a school exam. A relationship is a mistake. If you make it, the mistake will stay with you for life, especially if there are children. That's why, thank God, life doesn't give many of you a great, amazing girl in a relationship. She doesn't want you to ruin her destiny. For many of you, she doesn't let you have a child because she understands that the child would grow up in hell. Either you will be together well for life, but you will be bickering all your life. Many of you probably have had such an experience. You watched your parents constantly argue. What a great family. You inherited a great experience. And life understands, why the hell should I destroy this child their self-esteem, knowing they will have to spend huge amounts of money to heal their psyche later? But men think, what's the big deal? I'll figure it out. I'll just send one text message and she'll come running immediately. Write it. You can confess your love to her today. Say, darling, I can't live without you. I love you. Let's be together. And see how she forgives you. How she immediately goes, ah, you love me. I didn't. I, fool that I am, thought you didn't love me. Well, of course, let's be together. Unfortunately, in 99% of cases, she will write, I'm very flattered, but no. And thank God that girls do that. And thank God that they handle it so harshly with us by breaking up. Because they give a first, second, fifth, 10th chance. We don't understand. Okay, all the best, goodbye. Go study. If you don't want to study, all the best, goodbye. How will your life be there? I don't give a damn. And thank God. She thinks that way. If you are a stupid creature that wants to ruin my life, then our child's. I don't care what happens to you next. That's how they think, and it's right that they think that way. I have conducted a huge number of consultations where men broke up with women and they had a child. You can't even imagine how these children suffered afterwards. It's a disaster. Therefore, this topic is very serious. Where to buy? Link in the profile header. Should you get back with your ex? I'll tell you. Probably. News. So interesting. Probably no one in your life will tell you this, but that's why I'm John Dola, because I always tell everyone directly and as it is. Apparently, it's time for me to become your father. How old are you? Should I also decide for you whether to wipe your butt or not? Should I also decide for you what color socks to buy? Wake up. I understand if a girl wrote to me. No. Girls are naturally doubtful personalities. A man is asking if he should get back with his ex. Should you go back? How do you want to become a man? How do you want to... Thank God she left you. Here's the first reason. I already see the first reason why she left you. You are a man who cannot make a decision. Question. Does a girl need a man who cannot make a decision? No. Why? If there is a task or a problem and the man cannot make a decision, who has to make the decision? A woman. Who needs to solve the problem? A woman. If a man cannot solve this problem, what does a woman become if she starts making decisions and solving problems? A man. Question. A woman who was originally a woman, but in a relationship, and she is forced to become a man. Question. Why does she need such a man? So, buddy, it's time to become a man and make decisions on your own. That's why life made you a man. That's why life is challenging you. It's time to become a man and not ask for advice. Imagine, I'm just a nobody to you, and you're asking me whether you should or shouldn't. I'm shocked. How do you men even plan to live in this life? Like this. How much does the training cost? $1 billion. I have 8 trainings. 8. You're asking me how much the training costs. Go to the profile header and check. You always show how to meet, how to talk to a girl, but then there's simply nothing more to say. What to do? You always show how to meet, how to talk to a girl, but then there's simply nothing more to say. What to do? In short, I didn't understand the damn thing you wrote here, but I'll try to guess. You approached a girl, started a conversation. For example, hi, how's the weather? She says, good. And you stand there thinking about what to tell her next. Therefore, you need a structure for what to talk about with a girl. And in the structure, it's about how to overcome the fear of approaching, so you can approach her without trembling, without looking at her like that. Miss, may I get to know you? No way, you'll never meet anyone like that in your life. Next, you need to stop her. That's the second thing. Third, you need to open the conversation in an interesting way, not with Miss, you are so beautiful I couldn't pass by, may I get to know you? You won't meet a beauty like that in your life. Therefore, you need to learn to open originally. Next, you need to find an interesting topic for conversation, so that she finds it interesting to talk with you. Next, you need to build trust. Then you need to talk about yourself correctly. Increase your value. This is called increasing your value, so that she becomes interested in you. Next, you need to flirt with her. Because the goal of meeting is not to get contacts, but to seduce. You should know what the tricks for flirting are. When you can introduce this flirting, how she should react to this flirting, and how you should respond to this flirting. Next, you need to arrange a meeting and correctly get her contact information. These are the 9 points you need to study to meet any girl, anywhere in the world. For this I have a book called How to Meet a Beauty. You read it and everything becomes clear immediately. Either you watch video lessons or you attend a training session. I was always surprised when students from other trainings come to me and say, I don't know how to overcome the fear of approaching. I don't know what to talk about. My students don't have such problems in life. Why? Because they finally understood how to overcome the fear of approaching, how to approach correctly, how to stop her, how to open up in an interesting way so that she becomes interested. What topics are interesting for girls so that she would gladly start talking to you. How to talk about yourself correctly so that she drops her jaw and says, wow, what a man, I want to go on a date with him. How to flirt with her. All of this is written in the book Video Lessons. You learn the text, you go meet a girl. That's it, congratulations. And it even explains how to immediately invite her on a date and go on a date with her the same day and in the evening already tumble with her in bed. You take it, learn it, read it. Well, not this book. How to Meet a Beauty. There it is. The red one. You learn the text, you go meet her, seduce the girl without any problems. In the evening, you have sex. A week later, you have a relationship. That's it. Your problem is solved. Once and for all. That's how easily it's resolved. Johnny number 1. Of course, because John has the best training sessions. That's why they are the most expensive. Why? Because they give concrete results. What do you think about Black Pill? I don't know what Black Pill is. Are your books available on WB? Not yet. We're working on it. The books are only on my website for now. Vova, greetings. Keep up the good work. That's what we're doing. John, my guilty. Got it. How to intrigue a girl. I'll tell you the dumbest advice on how to intrigue a girl from the dumbest training I ever attended. Alex Leslie. When I read his books, there were examples written there. Send her a text message saying, I found out something about you. Or no, it was even like this. I talked to your friend and found out something about you. It seems like a cool intrigue. Only later I wondered why they didn't reply to me or even blocked my phone. Can you imagine a girl writes to you? I talked to your friend and found out something about you. What would you reply? Crazy. Or you wouldn't reply at all. You shouldn't intrigue a girl in any way. How incorrect are your programs? And where did you pick them up? From other coaches? Congratulations. Keep watching them. Then probably jerk off to porn, because normal girls or women don't want you. Why? Because you've absorbed the wrong knowledge from the wrong coaches. And now you're left with nothing. You don't have the girl you dreamed of by your side. You jerk off to porn and then cry into your pillow, because you're lonely. You don't have the girl you dreamed of with you. How many years have you wasted on this? 20? Are you 30, 40 now? When will you start using your brain? If you've studied the topic for at least a few months, or even a year. Let's say you're 19 years old now. You started studying the topic of dating at 18. You've been studying the topic for a year, and still you can't meet a cool, amazing girl. Question, how is that? Imagine you've been working for a year to assemble this marker. In the end, you ended up assembling a canister. Question, do you have the right knowledge, or are you just completely inept? Probably you were given the wrong instructions and the wrong materials. And this is the first program you need to reprogram. Stop watching what you have been watching until now. You have absorbed this knowledge, and here is the result of the knowledge you've absorbed. So unfollow other trainers right now and never watch them again. They have already given you the result. Subscribe to me and watch only my videos. Quote. And then you'll certainly be truly amazed at why I indeed right away have great, cool results. Because you shouldn't intrigue a girl. Recently, a man also messaged me privately. And yesterday, I think I posted a story. I found out where she works. I sent flowers by courier and wrote in the note, come to the park today at 8 o'clock. I'll be on such and such a bench. And she didn't come. What did I do wrong? Because you think a girl will fall for intrigue in some bouquet. You need to learn how to approach, meet, and not intrigue her. Or how, not to intrigue, but to interest. Does Timati need to intrigue a girl? No, he really needs to interest her. Oh. The first literary work you need to read is something interesting and insightful, like How to Meet a Beauty. If you don't have a girlfriend, this is the first book you need to start. You're learning with. What's the point of reading a book about dating or relationships if you don't have a girlfriend? Who will you practice all this on? No one. Therefore, to move forward, you need to learn how to meet people. Yes, I'm sitting in my underwear. So what? Because it's hot. I can sit in whatever I want. Now you know. Let's move on. How to dress properly. Casual or classic. I have checked with a large number of girls which style they like the most. Casual and classic. How exactly you should dress is actually written in books. What is casual, what is classic, what goes with what, which pants, which jackets, which shirts, which t-shirts, which sneakers, which shoes, which belts. All of this is written in the book How to Meet a Beauty, Date Virtuoso, Night King, Clubbing, and so on. All of this is written. So, well, are there any more interesting questions? You're a champ. When will you release your own book? Got it. I've already written 5 books. My own. The 6th is in the plans. I'm thinking about the title. It will either be called How to Seduce a Star or I'm a Pickup Artist. We really want your book on Yandex Market. What difference does it make where it is? I have it on my website. What difference does it make? It's on Wildberries, Yandex Market, Ozon, Chitai Gorod. What difference does it make? How many relationships have you had? A lot. Start asking questions about yourself, not about me. What, I had 1 relationship or I had 100 relationships? So what about you? What will change? What will it change in your life? Whether I had 1 sexual encounter or 1,000 women, what will that change in your life? Nothing. You need to learn to be interested in yourself, to solve your own problems, not others. Because information about others will give you nothing. Do all men cheat? Of course, not. It's like asking, women, do all women cheat? Of course not. The statistics are approximately the same, 50-50. Why do people cheat? Because something is unsatisfactory in their personal life. Do you even know what cheating is? Cheating is solving one's sexual problems on the side. That is, instead of solving your sexual problems with your partner, discussing, talking, finding compromises, it's easier for you to go have sex on the side. Will this lead to anything good? Of course, to a breakup. Congratulations. You've made a bold move. But the most interesting part only begins afterward. So you went, cheated on her, and you broke up. Or she cheated on him. Naturally, you find out about it later and you broke up. Did you solve the problem? No. In your next relationship, it will be the same. And in cheating, both are always to blame, not just the one who went to cheat. That's the catch. You should think about why she cheated on me, or why did he cheat on me? What was he dissatisfied with, or what was she dissatisfied with? Why? Was there cheating? That's the solution to the problem. Calling him a jerk or her a slut. Prostitute won't solve the problem. In your next relationship, it will be the same. Does a man's height play a role, or do money cover this disadvantage? Yes, money and status cover it. This man is from the group Nepara, a singer. What is his height? And this one, what's his name? Not from Comedy Club, but Boroduk, the series. Damn, I forgot, it slipped my mind. Galustian. What is his height? But for some reason, a huge number of girls are interested in them. Why? Popular. Money. So of course, if you want someone who is 6'3" and you are 5'3", well, it's clear there will be difficulties. But one thing easily compensates for the other. But if you are short, poor, ugly, fat, I'm explaining how much women destroy themselves, their happiness, their relationships. Do you want to be happier? Or, right? A woman writes, John, it's impossible to please everyone. You have a 6th grade level of thinking. The woman is now sitting without a relationship, possibly with a child. There isn't a cool, awesome man around, the one she dreamed of. And she tells me when I have a great, awesome relationship with the girl of my dreams, she tells me what my level of thinking is. She wants to be right, but unhappy. Instead of perking up her ears like this and asking the right questions, what's wrong with me? Why the hell isn't there a cool, awesome man with me, rich, successful, who will love me, give me flowers every day, carry me in his arms, organize trips for us? She is being cheated on. She asked a question about infidelity before this. There isn't a cool, awesome man next to her, but she has her own opinion about me. Now, it's not surprising why the man left her and cheated on her. From your questions, it's immediately clear where your problems lie. And this applies to all women. Do you want to be happy or right? Do you want to be right? Okay, be smart. As a result, you'll be surrounded by pushovers who don't care whether you're dumb or not, right or wrong, as long as they're with you. But you won't see a great, cool man in your life. Why? Because you want to be right? John, the husband went out today with his friend who came from another city. Is this considered cheating? Should I really be worried at this point? I don't know what kind of friend she is. I don't know what kind of relationship you have. I can let my girlfriend go with a friend without any problem. Why? Because I am 120% sure of her. But what's between you, I don't know. What do you think about love? What does it mean to you? I think you can always forget any girl. Well, I forget. And what's the point? What's the point of forgetting her? And so what? How did that help you build your personal happiness? How did it help you? What is beside you now? Did it turn out to be the girl you dreamed of? You see, I am a very blunt, truthful coach. Why? Because I'm interested in working with people who want results. And the result is awesome, cool relationships with the girl you dreamed of. I work only in this direction. All questions that are not in this direction. I don't want to waste my time. I consider such people, well, you're just wasting your life. I have myself. That's why I'm not a psychologist. I'm a coach. There's a task. We start, we work. You live in awesome, cool relationships. And this philosophy, these tears, this soap opera, you can keep to yourself and chat with GPT or Alice. Why without a relationship? Married for a long time. Then what are you doing on my channel? If you had awesome, cool relationships right now, you would be with your man, cuddling somewhere on the beach or somewhere else at the cottage. I don't know. But for some reason, you're sitting and watching me, John Dollar, who is, so to speak, criticizing you. How can you get enough of girls when you have one and want more? Haven't you gone out yet? You are still very far from being in a relationship. And my recommendation to you, if you don't want to get hit on the head, under no circumstances should you tell girls that you want to build a relationship with them right now. Why will life punish you for this later? Why did she believe you while you just wanted to fool around with her, so to speak, have sex? That's called a romantic holiday fling, right? You sweet-talked her just to have sex with her. She believed you. And then, after the first time or a week later, you broke up with her. Believe me, it will come back to you. So under no circumstances should you talk about relationships. Just say, if you're asked that you don't want a relationship right now, how do you overcome the fear of being rejected when trying to meet someone? Do you truly realize how much you fully, completely, absolutely, and entirely cornered yourself? In life, you won't see a cool, amazing girl. Unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know. A cool, amazing girl needs a man who is afraid of her or afraid that he'll approach and be rejected. Does she need someone like that? No. It's clear that this fear is always there and in everyone. just at different levels of girls. For example, I would be scared to approach Angelina Jolie, but those girls who were like queens to me 5 years ago, I'm no longer afraid to approach them. Therefore, this fear simply increases over time. There are a huge number of techniques on how to overcome the fear of meeting someone. Well, how to overcome the fear of meeting someone so you're not afraid to approach her. But the fear of being rejected is a program that needs to be reprogrammed. Why does it prevent you from building your personal life? What's the point of being afraid? How does this improve your life? It doesn't. It only gets worse. You further program your brain to think that cool, amazing girls are not for you. Why did you notice her? Your mind tells you, look how amazing she is. You glance at her. Wow, her body, her chest, her face, everything is perfect. No, well, if I approach her, she'll reject me. What should I do? You let her pass by. And this happens dozens of times every day, maybe even hundreds of times. For how many years? 10, 20, 30, 40? What does the subconscious understand? What program has been ingrained? Buddy, you might as well not even approach. These girls are not for you. Question: will you be able to reprogram this on your own now? Never. Your fate is to meet some girl in a mutual company. That's the best case, where she will, so to speak, have poor values and a poor opinion of herself. That's the misery, and you're the misery, so to speak. Here you are, two driven people who are afraid of everything. You meet and then you try to build a relationship. Is this the kind of life you dreamed of? I think probably not. So first, you need a consultation so I can reprogram your mindset. And second, to give you a couple of cool, awesome techniques on how to overcome the fear of meeting new people. And third, to explain how to communicate with a girl, what to talk about with her, how to interest her, how to flirt, how to make sure she comes to a date, and that's it. There will be no fear or worry about being rejected. There will be a huge number of acquaintances, a huge number of dates, a huge amount of sex, a huge amount of... No, not a huge amount, but cool, awesome relationships with the girl you've dreamed of. So it's your choice to either remain in your fears or face them. Learn to understand this topic. Read books, watch video lessons, attend training sessions, and build an entirely new life. And life loves heroes. And life gives rewards only to heroes. Why does it want to see if you are even worthy of it? If you're afraid to approach it, question, why on earth should it give you something as a gift? You might already be 30 years old. Well, have you received many bonus gifts? No. You sit alone without the girl you dreamed of. Stop believing in a miracle that will happen on its own someday. You are already 20, 30, 40 years old. The miracle hasn't happened. Miracles only happen to those who work on them. I had to work my ass off for a miracle to happen for many, so that I wouldn't be afraid to approach any girl, so that I could charm cool, amazing girls I never even dreamed of, even though I was a loser. Here's who saw my photos at 16. I was a loser. I had to live this life, an ordinary life, with an ordinary girl, drink, because I didn't meet and wasn't in a relationship with the girl I dreamed about. That's the kind of life I was supposed to have. Thank God I met a friend who told me that there's such a thing. You can study it, you can learn it. And it worked 120%. So the choice is yours. To stay in those fears or to face them, study the subject, and solve this problem once and for all.